Now, the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party is getting deeper. Just days to the kickoff of presidential campaigns, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and some other leaders of the PDP loyal to him have pulled out of the campaign council of the party's presidential candidate, ATIKU'S. The decision was made after a 7-hour closed-door meeting at Governor WIKE'S private residence in Port Harcourt, where they vowed to boycott all campaign activities in the build-up to the 2023 presidential election until Senator WWAZURUAHU resigns as national chairman of the party to pave the way for a southerner. The WIKE group, led by former Deputy National Chairman of the PDP, Bode George, accused Senator WWAZURUAHU of compromising the presidential primary of the party through his conduct. Referencing Senator WWAZURUAHU's visit to Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal after the presidential primary, where he praised the governor and called him the hero of the exercise. The group described the national chairman as a bad referee who assisted one side to score a goal during a football match and later blew the whistle. With us in the studio to discuss the way forward for the PDP is political analyst Omori Edogiawere, and he is the lead partner, Edogiawere and Company LP. Well, joining us from Abuja studio is the head of Mission, Leadership and Accountability Initiative, NWAZURUAHU Shield. All right, NWAZURUAHU Shield will join us much later, but we will begin with Omori in the studio. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. And apologies for murdering your name at some point. Now, from your assessment of Governor Nyesom Wike's, moves and decision pulling out of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council and all of that, do you think that is in any way deepening the crisis thus far? Would it have any impact on the party? Because it seems the party is moving on.
Of course, it's deepening the crisis. It shows that they're not united. So the thing about being an opposition is that as an opposition and fighting an incumbent government, you have to be as united as possible. You cannot afford cracks in your system. Once you have cracks, it shows that you're not ready. You're not prepared. If there's if there's any consensus that everybody will agree with, it would be that in 2015, APC was united in their resolve, in their drive. They did not allow personal interest or cracks in the system get into their way, right? But what we're seeing with the PDP is that they appear to be deflecting, or they appear to be, I don't know the word to use, because the issues are bigger than the president's problem that they seem to be trying to resolve.
Really?
Yes, and what are the issues? PDP wants to get into power. According to them, they want to rescue Nigerians. That should be their focus. But there are other issues, and I always speak from a legal standpoint, maybe because I'm a lawyer. But if we really want to look at the issues, let's distill these issues. What is the problem on ground? Somebody made a commitment to resign if a particular outcome comes. Now, there are legal implications to that commitment, and there are ethical implications to that commitment.
All right, help us understand it.
I would say that Ayu made a campaign promise, because that statement made by him was made when he hadn't even become chairman of the party.
What was the statement?
That, I would resign if the party produces a presidential candidate from the same zone as I am, right? So he made the commitment. At that time, he was a Northern Consensus candidate for chairmanship.
Yes.
And so he made the campaign promise. That's how I would see it. And then he became chairman. And the presidential, fast forward to presidential primaries, someone from the same zone, he's from Benue, ATIKU'S is from Adamawa, emerges. And then you call up the promise he made at the time. Now, when you look at promises in legal parlance, you look at contractual obligation of the parties. I promise to do this, right? And where there's a breach, you who is seeking to enforce will pick out a document to say, I'm holding you accountable based on this. There is no such document.
Right.
If you look at the constitution of the party provides an avenue for the removal of the chairman of the party. In section 47, it talks about a vote of confidence being passed 2 years into the elected tenure of that elected office holder. And if that vote of confidence is passed and ratified by the general body, the person continues. However, if that vote of confidence is not ratified and does not receive the general acceptance of all the arms of the party, the person steps aside and hands over to the next person. Right? So that is the only provision for removal of a party chairman. Now let's also look at the issue of zoning. That is the crux of the issue.
Yes.
What does the party constitution say about zoning? Section 7, subsection 3C, provides that the party will support the principle of rotation and zoning in order to ensure the attainment of the general objectives for which the party came together, right? That's the only mention of zoning. Interestingly, in 2019, I was at the Supreme Court, and one of the issues that I had to argue before the Supreme Court was the constitutionality or otherwise of zoning. And I was representing a political party that had an active clause in their constitution that said the presidential candidate and the chairman of the party cannot come from the same zone. It was expressly written, right?
What party was that?
Well, the Social Democratic Party, right? Now, let's not look at that. Let's not even go into the merits or otherwise of that or the decision of the Supreme Court, but I won, by the way, right? But the fact is, there is no express mention in the constitution of the PDP that outlaws the chairman and president shall candidate or president
coming from the same zone.
Right? So this is the lacuna that exists. And this is where IU is finding his ground to renege on an ethical
So you're saying
promise.
that the spirit of the PDP constitution says that this is the way to go.
Yes.
But it's not saying
it doesn't make it sacrosanct.
Yes.
Right? And it is verbose. It is verbose.
Can you read? Do you have it with you?
Oh, yes. It says, adhering to the policy of rotation and zoning of party and public elective offices in pursuance of the principle of equity, justice, and fairness.
Adherence.
Adhering. The party shall pursue these objectives by adhering to the policy of the rotation and zoning of party and public elective offices in pursuance of the principle of equity, justice, and fairness.
What does adhering mean?
It means abiding by.
Which is,
right?
In a sense, a sort of...
yes. But you see,
it's sort of law.
It's not, it's like I said, it's verbose.
It's clear. Adhere is a verb.
Yes. It adhere.
It's a verb.
But you see...
It says obey. That's what it's saying. We shall obey or we shall abide by the principle of zoning because we want equity and justice. Yes. So if we don't abide by it, we will not have equity justice and fairness, which is what the other side is saying.
So that's where I'm coming to. There are legal issues and there are moral or ethical issues. Now, if the party wanted to stick to this clause, Atiku Abubakar shouldn't have been in the ballot in the first place.
That's my question. That's my question. Is the problem with IU or the problem is with Atiku?
The problem is with the party. You see, you cannot... There's something in law which we call voluntary non-fit injuria.
I love that. Why don't you translate?
You cannot jump into the boxing ring and come out and say you have been wounded. Right?
What if you enter with a lot of
you cannot say, you cannot go into a battle and then you cry about the after effects of the battle that you have gone into. The PDP had this clause specifically asking that the party should adhere in the interest of fairness, justice, and equity.
Yes.
Was it equitable at the time to zone the president, to allow a northern presidential candidate emerge? So you are probating and reprobating. You're saying in one language, oh, it's okay for a northern person to come, even though equitably presidency should have gone to the south. So that actually is where the problem comes from, right? Why did WIKE not win the presidential ticket?
Big question.
Right?
Okay,
we have another guest on Zoom from Abuja's studio, but you might want to clear your question.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that the fact that Ayu made that statement even before he became president meant that there was already a game plan. Because you will think that when they were setting up the executive council or board, they did it with an eye to equity, justice, and fairness.
Yes.
Not only for the position of chairman, vice chairman. In the case of vice chairman, it's usually specific. Vice chairman north, vice chairman south, vice chairman this. Then you have secretary, then you have treasurer, and all of that. So it looks like it was a game plan for him to say, okay, if the man emerges, I will step down. Yeah. It looks like there's a game plan, and it is that game plan that has run into its own problem now.
So we must always take lessons from happenstance. When things happen, what are the lessons to learn from it? Whether or not Ayu resigns, if there's anything that the PDP should see in what is playing out, is that they need to go back and rejig their constitution. They need to make certain things. So, like I said,
but it's too late to do that now.
Like I said, that I have given you the legal angle. Now let's look at the ethical and moral angle to it.
All right, quickly.
Ayu said, I am willing to do everything to promote the interest and image of my party. I am a democratic person, and I will do everything to promote the interest and image of my party. I would resign. It was explicit. He said that in October in an interview with Channels.
Yeah.
Is he promoting the image of his party by reneging on an explicit, clear, unequivocal promise he made? How does that play out to the average voter who sees the #1 officer of a political party who says, we are better than the present party in power, and yet you can't keep a simple promise?
All right.
Yeah, all right.
That's the question that perhaps we'll look into much later. But let's bring our other guest who is joining us from our Abuja studio. He is the head of Mission, Leadership and Accountability Initiative, NWAZURUAHU Shield. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
I'm certain you have been following the conversation in the studio, and would like to get your impressions of what have been said so far, especially with regards to the question that Omori brought up that has to do with if it was equitable at the time for a northerner to have emerged at the primaries.
Well, thank you. I would like to look at it from a different angle. The key players today are people who are expected that things will go their ways within the party. When this issue of North-South ticket was thrown up last year and early this year, It was the same people crying foul today who said the ticket should be thrown open, the contest should be thrown open. You cannot go into a fight knowing who your opponent will be, and then you come out and say, oh, this opponent has this advantage over me or not. Listen, it was clear. It was going to be between the North and the South. That's always been what the party has been about. That's always been what this particular political party, in this instance, the PDP, has always done. But the key players, and if you want me to mention them, I will mention them of the River State governor, decided, okay, let's throw it open. First of all, as a prelude, coming up into the primaries and what have you of the party, the convention of the party, the first thing that WIKE did was to make sure that the last chairman, who was not just from the South, but also from River State, did not finish his tenure. Okay? Uche Secondus' tenure was supposed to run through to December, I think so, and he made sure, in fact, he came on national TV and said, yes, I supported his removal, his suspension from his ward, and what have you. So it's always been about WIKE since 2015, the emergence of Alimodu Sheriff as chairman, who destroyed the fortune of the party as an opposition, beginning from the time that the way that he was even brought in as the national chairman of the party. Members. Coincidentally, I witnessed his emergence as the chairman where the meeting was held in the Governor's Lodge in Asokoro, Ondo State Governor's Lodge in Asokoro. The issue is, yes, PDP became an opposition political party, and then when Olisametu was arrested, a lot of them became scared, they ran away, they started hiding under the table. WIKE stood in, WIKE fought, and what have you. But PDP has paid WIKE enough for all that he has done for it. WIKE brought Alimodu Sheriff as chairman. WIKE brought Ahmed Makarfi, former governor of Kaduna, as chairman. WIKE brought Uche Secondus as chairman. What else does he want the PDP to do for him? WIKE, for once, every chairman he has brought has failed, apart from Ahmed Makarfi. WIKE's choices for the chairmanship of the PDP put the PDP in a coma. In fact, he took the spirit of those who never believed that, or who believed that the party would never go under, to resuscitate the party. Okay? So what else does WIKE want? You said that you want equity. It should move from the north to the south. A beautiful thing. Justice, fairness, equity demands that. But why did you fight against the thing moving down to the southeast? All right. If this is truly not about WIKE as a person, if it is about equity, if it is about fairness, the South has had his own slot through President Jonathan.
Interesting point you have brought up there, Shield.
This is not about equity and fairness.
All right, Shield, you have brought up interesting points that we'll look into when we return from this break. We need to quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're looking at the crisis in the PDP, and we have still in the studio political analyst Omori Edohiawere, and we have also joining us from our Abuja studio, NWAZURUAHU Shield. And we have been speaking with NWAZURUAHU Shield. Shield, before we went on the break, you were asking what else does WIKE want? But he has said it is not about him. It is about fairness. It is about ensuring that there is some level of bringing everybody together, not seeing a lopsidedness with regards to all of these positions in the party. That is what it is about, not about the person of WIKE, which he has pointed out. But I think Sam has a question he wants to ask you.
Yes, the question is simple. There is a constitution in the party that says that the offices have to be zoned. And IU himself had said that he will step down if the candidate emerged from the north. So it's not just a matter of WIKE, it's a matter of the party principle. How do you move forward without abiding by the law and also abiding by your own word, which is ethical? So it's both ethical and legal.
Thank you. If I would take you, Mr. Sam, I think there's a deliberate attempt to mislead the public about what Ayu said. I've been watching the video. I've never met, I don't know who, I've never met Ayu, so, but I've watched the video and I have followed the trajectory of WIKE'S incursion into the power play of the PDP political charade or whatever it is that has been happening in the party. First of all, let me be very clear on what I have watched Ayu say. I don't know if anybody has any other video of him or any other evidence or whatever else he has said. What I heard Ayu say is, I will do anything it takes for my party to win. If after the primaries, the party decides the party, not someone who is bitter because he lost the primaries, not someone who is angry, not someone who has an entitlement mentality since he has been installing chairman in the party, not someone who feels that the party belongs to him, not someone who has this, if it is not me, nobody else, someone who has fought practically every stakeholder, every leader in the party, who has fought them, every governor he has fought them. The last one he had was the deputy governor of Edo, who did not do half of what he is doing today to the PDP. He fought the man and said, what right do you have to challenge the PDP? Today, WIKE is letting us know, if it is not me, let me pull down this house. The worst part of this is not the fact that WIKE has always gotten everything he wanted from the party, right? It is the deliberate, I don't know, I don't want to call it shamelessness. This is a man who went around the country and told everybody he was going to win the ticket. You said you're fighting for equity. And I want to ask him, like I have asked him severally, WIKE, if you are talking about equity, fairness, and justice, why did you not support a Southeastern candidate? Aspirant. It's simple. So that we will know that, okay, truly, you want fairness within the party. Truly, this is not about me, WIKE. This is not about, do you understand? President Jonathan had the 100% backing of the Southeast as president, even when the Southeast still suffers repercussions of that singular action of backing Jonathan up to today. WIKE, you want justice for the South, but you don't want justice for the Southeast. That is not justice. That is a parochial, that is a very selfish, self-centered, narrow-minded action by the governor of Rivers. That is number one. Number two is, you said Ayu should resign as a precondition for you to support Atiku. And I asked a question, are you supporting Atiku for anybody's interest? You are supporting Atiku for your own interest. So if you decide to pull out, good. What if Atiku goes ahead to win tomorrow? Okay? WIKE has divided the PDP. I'm going to be very blunt about this. I'm going to be straight to the point about this. WIKE is the only problem of the PDP today. There is no singular problem the PDP has ever had since it was formed in 1998 that they've not been able to manage, that they've not been able to overcome until this young man, this very young man, decided to usurp the, I don't know, is WIKE greater than the, I hear people say, all
right, okay, we'll come back to the studio.
All right, Shield, we have
made WIKE.
Shield, we need to come back to the studio. There are certain things you have mentioned that we'll ask you much later, but Amari, let's get your reaction to what he is saying.
Get your reaction.
You know, off record, I was saying that for me, I'd rather we look at the issues as against the individual. And that's the problem with our politics.
Sometimes the individuals are the issues.
We fixate heavily on the individuals. We like to brand ourselves. But what are the issues? I have distilled it. I have said to you, the legal issues I have laid bare. What does the constitution of the party say? So as a lawyer, when you come to me with any problem, the first thing I do is I go to look at what the law says with regards to getting redress for you. And if there is no legal line of action for redress, I'll advise you to seek a conciliatory angle to it. Right? Now, but there's law and there's morals. There's law and there's equity. What is the equitable thing to do? Now, here's the thing. IU has not come out to say, I didn't make that statement. IU has not come out to say, oh, I can no longer keep that commitment because of ABC. IU is saying, I will not resign. I am an elected office holder, right? WIKE'S camp is saying, you made a commitment. And in fact, by your actions, you have shown some level of partisanship. And we do not think that you are an unbiased umpire. So step aside. These are very germane issues. The lesson PDP should learn, and the lesson WIKE and his team should learn, is that, you see, before things happen, there's a lot of compromise. Before the presidential primaries, you ought to have, if you even put these commitments in writing, it would have been a lot easier. Oh, Mr. Chairman, you made this commitment. Can we have an MOU signed? That wasn't done. So legally, you really don't have a recourse, because trying to enforce Section 7(3)(c) would be stretching it very far, because it's not specific. Ultimately, it's a generic phrase, even though it says, like Mr. Sam has said, adhere, right? But like I said, you have started on a wrong footing as a party by bringing in a northerner, by throwing it open. That in the first place was wrong. You see, that's where the battle should have started.
Yeah.
But you shifted the goalpost, and you really cannot legally shift to suit your...
The thing is that they are trying to, it seems that they are trying to hide under legality, whereas they used legality also to commit the problem.
Exactly, exactly, right? But there is a moral obligation on Senator Ayu.
Yes.
You made a commitment, right? Even though in a way he shifted the goalpost to the party to say, if the party says, who really is the party?
Now, they had a vote of confidence, and people are saying that it was a
sham.
A sham of a vote of confidence.
Yes.
PAs, they were,
you know, so
the number of persons that were present were too much for.
Well, but even that vote of confidence, even that vote of confidence on IU legally is inchoate.
Because it's supposed to be after 2 years.
So it has not matured. So it is of no consequence. That vote of no confidence is of no consequence.
That WIKE is the real problem. But people like Bode George also have, and the Yorubas in APC, in PDP, they have complained. They said, you guys have left us out of the whole thing. They don't have a presidential candidate. They don't have a vice presidential candidate. They don't have chairman. They don't have secretary.
But
they're saying that they're not even in reckoning. Not only they're even saying that not only in PDP, they're saying so about Labour as well. Yeah. That they're out of they're almost as if the Southwest is not important to them.
But even beyond that, you have a situation where people must learn that the sacrifices we make count for something. You know, I was cringing hearing the gentleman speak about WIKE in some extent. Yes, WIKE may have his own shortcomings, right? I'm not holding brief for him. Like I said, I want to remain objective. But you cannot separate the fact that for the longest time, WIKE was the face of opposition in this country.
He said,
WIKE said what
he held the party for them.
WIKE said what people were afraid to say.
Yeah.
But
WIKE spoke truth to power.
Shields has said that WIKE has been paid for whatever.
What does it mean by that?
That he has
what
done
does that
for the
mean?
party.
What does that mean? So while we're
while these issues are being resolved, do not denigrate the sacrifices a person has come out to make on the altar of the fact that you want to prove your point. WIKE spoke truth to power. WIKE was the face of opposition, continues to be a formidable force. Now, what PDP must not forget, you see, when you say, oh, this is WIKE's interest you're talking about here, we mustn't forget, let's be students of history. What happened in 2015? This same Rivers. Where was Amechi?
Amechi went to NPDP.
What happened in 2015?
The same thing.
So we must not get temporary amnesia to think that it's easy to just gloss over certain people because you feel there's a new...
Let's ask...
Shield.
Shield, you're talking about fairness. And some people will say, Atiku Abubakar was presidential candidate in 2019. Is now presidential candidate for 2023. That is he the only person in the party that should go president? That they almost said that he also rigged his own. He also rigged with in cahoots with another candidate to get it into the north because he didn't even have the votes. He had to rig the circumstance that's part of the problem the party is having now. And secondly, you said they say it's about WIKE alone. And the Southwest people in the same PDP are saying, you guys don't put us into reckoning. We don't have a candidate, a presidential candidate. We don't have a vice presidential candidate. We don't have a secretary. We don't have chairman, and so on. And you think that it's only about WIKE or it's only about Southeast?
Sam, let me quickly debunk that action against the Southwest within the PDP. Okay? I was fully in the PDP when the Secondus became the national chairman of the PDP. And I want to be on record this morning as saying WIKE was the reason that chairmanship of the PDP in 2017 did not go to the Southwest. And I dare him to confront me and deny it. Nyesom WIKE of Rivers State was the one who claimed that there was no one in the Southwest that they could trust. Please,
it's not about chairman alone.
He has a program by 10.
Sorry, it's not about chairman alone. It's not about WIKE. Can you hear me?
The person, Nyesom.
It's not about chairman alone.
I'm cutting off. I can hear.
It's not about chairman alone. It's just...
I'm going to address every issue. Don't worry. Listen. PDP issue is something I am going to address. Anywhere you want to bring it, I will address them. I'm talking about you raising a point that the Southwest is not taken into cognizance in this arrangement. I am telling you that Nyesom WIKE propped up Uche Secondus as against Mr. Tunde Adeniran and all the rest, even Bode George, who wanted to stand up. If Nyesom WIKE denies it, please bring me face to face with him in your studio. Let me tell you where this was discussed. Let me tell you who and who was there when this was discussed. I was contacted by his own people. In fact, let's take this issue. You cannot blame Atiku has never. I don't have a candidate in this election, but so far Atiku has not uttered a statement against any region. Atiku has not indulged in any action against any region. Atiku, from what I heard, said that if the presidential slot will be zoned to the Southeast, he will not contest. That is decency. That is a man that respects what equity and fairness means. WIKE, before ever this thing happened, let me even give you an analogy. Imagine that WIKE had thrown all this is support, all this is strength, and all this is muscle and whatever he's doing behind a Southeasterner to have emerged as PDP presidential candidate. By now, the election will have been done and gone for. WIKE was all just about himself. You are a man. Everybody that wants a position in the party comes to you. Atiku comes to Rivers. Saraki comes to Rivers. Bala Mohammed comes to Rivers. Everybody that wants a position in PDP comes to you because of the sacrifices you have made. Okay? All of a sudden, you do no longer want a zone in the South to get the ticket because you feel maybe there's too much money or you have sustained the party. And I always have an argument. I heard the man there, I can't remember his name, the man in the studio, saying that WIKE has been the only voice against the PDP, against the power. He has been speaking truth to power. He's been the only opposition voice. I beg to disagree. WIKE has immunity as a governor. So he can say whatever he believes he can say because nobody is going to arrest him. There are thousands of people in this country who are not governors, who do not have the resources of rivers, who have stood against the government of President Muhammadu Buhari since 2015 with no humility. There are people in prison, there are people in he's been able to do. Yes, he wants to be visible. Take away the camera from WIKE for 1 month. I'm not sure he's going to survive. He loves visibility. He loves the attention. The issue is, and I'm asking you, Mr. Sam, and I'm asking the studio, what exactly does WIKE want? WIKE does not want ATIKU as leader or whatever in the PDP. Who has been able to challenge WIKE in Rivers State in the last 7.5 years? WIKE single-handedly brought the person that is the PDP governorship candidate in the state, got funds for a lot of people. The one who challenged him, an honorable, because his people also reached out to me, who challenged WIKE and said he was going to buy form, he bought the form, he was going for primaries, he was arrested.
Right.
Is that the kind of person that we want to throw the party behind? The PDP does not belong
Shield,
to
if you can hear me, you have asked a question, what WIKE wants. WIKE has said what he wants is fairness. There was an agreement between he and the presidential candidates of the party, according to him, that if Atiku emerges, you will step aside, and that is what he says he wants to happen. But he has said he will stay in the party and still fight. Calm down, I'm not there done. So if you are saying, what does WIKE want? He has done so many things. He has been, paid for all of his sacrifices. Are you saying that the party can move ahead without him?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want, let me explain it to you, okay? What WIKE is doing today is because PDP as a party has been too docile in the last 7.5 years. They have never, and I say this to them, and I say it to anyone in Wadata House today, you failed and as an opposition. Because if you understood your place in the system, in this political system that has been running in the last 7.5 years, believe me sincerely, nobody will want to touch the APC with a long pole. But what you have done, you have failed Nigerians as an opposition party. So you have a WIKE that is able to come on TV and talk and blast Buhari and blast APC, and then all of a sudden, is WIKE democratic in Rivers State itself as a governor? All right. Not everybody that bought the form.
We have to leave it here with you now.
Everybody that bought form
Shield.
to run for governorship in Rivers, is WIKE democratic? The answer is no.
All right,
So
we have, and that's a fine place to leave the conversation with you now. Shield, we have to leave the conversation here for want of time. So much needs to be said, but we don't have time. Head of Mission, Leadership and Accountability Initiative, NWAZURUAHU, Shield, thank you for your time. He was the one in our studio. Thank you so much for your time. We have to go. Right. We come back to the studio. Your final words on this matter, Omori, before we let you go. Quickly.
Two things. With all that's going on, it leaves me asking a question. Where really is the Nigerian voter in the scheme of things? Whose interest is AYU seeking to perpetrate by remaining in power? Whose interest is Nyesom Wike fighting for by asking AYU to leave? Is the Nigerian voter at the center, at the core of the heart of this political party and the players?
I know you know the answer.
It is important that if PDP wants a good outing in 2023, you must make the voter the core. AYU made a commitment, and even if he does not want to keep to it, he should speak to the issues. All right,
we'll leave it here now. We must thank you, political analyst Omori Edogiawere, the lead partner Edogiawere and Company LP. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you.